circumstances surrounding Albert Ojwang's death in police custody? How did he hit the cell wall? How are they explaining that?
Well, what we've learned is that Albert Ojwang was actually picked up in Homa Bay. Homa Bay is a county that is about 350 kilometers away from Nairobi. And rather than booked into that police station, he was driven the full 350 kilometers plus hundreds of police stations and courts to Central Police Station here in Nairobi. And the first question we asked is, why would they not charge him in a court of law or arrest and detain him in a police station that's closer to his home abode? So this is the first very suspicious, incident. The second one was that he was apparently booked in, but we've not been able to verify that he has been logged into the occurrence book. He was then placed in a cell by himself, according to the police, and their theory is that in the middle of the night, he started banging his head against a cell wall and died as a result of it. So they're calling this a suicide. But obviously this has changed with this morning's announcement by the National Police Service that no less than probably about 5 to 6 police officers, including the officer in charge of the commanding station. And let me just correct something. The officers that have been interdicted or suspended are not from Homa Bay. They are in the, the most well-known Kenyan police station, that is Central Police Station in Nairobi. So all these 4 to 5 officers have been interdicted or suspended, which seems to suggest that the police are now looking at a different theory, that it would be not the theory of suicide, but something has happened. As Amnesty International, we are conscious that, police stations have to be the safest spaces for any citizen. I mean, they are essentially protected environments. They are places that are set up to protect suspects against themselves, against others. But unfortunately, in the case of Albert Ojwang, we have a death in custody of police officers, and that is shocking for all.
Now, what does Amnesty Kenya expect from the authorities in terms of an independent investigation, and what role would you like to see civil society playing in this process?
Well, firstly, that the suspicion that he has been killed essentially for what was initially called publishing false, making a false publication, which is that on his social media platform he said something that was considered by the Director of Criminal Investigations as false. We know as Amnesty International that this, according to our laws, is a misdemeanor. It is not a serious crime. And again, why would he be taken 350 kilometers to a particular police cell and then turn up dead just a few hours later? So we're essentially saying that the National Police Service cannot investigate itself. On this particular case, it has to cede the crime scene, all the evidence, the information that relates to his registration, the cars that brought him that great distance, that all of this has to be ceded over to the Independent Policing Oversight Authority and the Kenyan National Commission on Human Rights, and they must exercise their mandates to essentially access the crime scene, collect all the evidence, and interview all officers, other detainees, and any witnesses that may have been there to this, what we suspect is a homicide.
Now, there are growing concerns over the arrest of citizens for online expression. Now, how would you describe the current state of digital rights and freedom of expression in Kenya?
I think the state of digital rights and our safety as, netizens is very fragile at the moment. 1 week ago, a coder by the name of Rose Jerry was arrested on a Friday afternoon. She was picked up with her 2 little children and placed in a cell, and essentially they proceeded to hold her for 88 hours, 4 times longer than the statutory provision allowed by our constitution. And when she was brought to court on the Tuesday, after the public holiday, the charges were just defective. There was really nothing to substantiate why she shouldn't have been, why she was arrested, and secondly, why she couldn't have been given free bond or released on bail the very next morning, despite the fact that she had lawyers at the police station. So I think it is a chilling moment. I think it's a real concern that law enforcement agencies have become severely compromised, that they are taking instructions politically and that the concerns that there may be a resumption of the protests that we saw on June 24th and 2024 last year, that this necessitates this heavy-handedness, which unfortunately for the case of the family of Albert Ojwang has ended in his death.
And just in wrapping up, what steps must be taken or need to be taken to ensure accountability and to prevent further deaths in police custody, especially, in politically or socially sensitive cases like this one?
Well, immediately the officers who are in the vicinity of a death like this need not to be suspended. They need to be detained and charged as potential accessories to the death. And nobody can walk into a police station. So therefore, it's very clear that whoever was given access to that police station is immediately a suspect, and they need to be arrested. The second thing is that the crime scene has to be secured by an independent agency, and I've spoken about this already. But the last one is that, I think we're at a point now where we have to start calling on the Kenyan government to admit a UN-based fact-finding team to independently investigate these, because without independent and external investigation, these kind of abductions, these kind of killings remain a threat to Kenyan lives, the rule of law, public interest, and even I would add national security. It is just so dangerous to have a situation where suspects are not safe from the officers that have arrested them.
Well, Irungu, thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update, and hopefully we will be able to, continue this discussion at some point and find out exactly what has happened going forward. Thank you for your time on Africa Update.
Thank you.
That's the Executive Director for Amnesty International Kenya, Irungu Houghton, joining us on the line.